Hello and welcome to another episode of the Construction Corner podcast. I'm Dylan. I'm your host. And guys, today we are going to be talking about three key topics this Independence Day week, right? So 4th of July this week. I hope you all get out, fly your flags proudly, proud to be an American, proud to live in this country, and proud to be within the construction industry. The three topics we're going to talk about today are going to be level setting on a project, basically when things aren't going right. How do you course correct and right the ship? Number two is documentation on projects and why this is so important. And I'm not talking about documentation like during the project or during construction when things are going wrong, but how to get the right documentation, the right drawings, all that kind of stuff from the start of a project and set yourself up for success. And the number three thing that I'm going to talk about today is going to be proposals. Are they more art or science? So first and foremost, let's dive into the show. And guys, if you get anything out of today's episode, please share it with a friend. We really appreciate you guys sharing the show, getting it out to all those other construction folks, and really talking about the industry that we love and care about so much. So level setting in a project. Have you ever had a project go to hell in a handbasket or what you thought was hell in a handbasket in your mind, right? When you just perceived that this is the worst, these people are not getting it. I don't know why or what's happening or all the above. We've all been there on tons and tons of projects. And a lot of the time, this stems from you just not talking about the same thing. You're talking around the same thing, talking near the same thing, but it's not at all the same thing, right? When somebody was talking mortar color and someone else was talking mortar pattern, right? Like same but different, same but different. So the thing we want to do whenever we realize that this is what's happening, right? We're talking about two very different things, is really level set on, hey, this is now what I understand you to be talking about. This is the first answer that I need to make sure that I'm clear on what we're doing. Number two is, okay, so now that I understand this, here's how we can move forward from here. And number three, we'll need a solution basically to present to the team so that we have a path forward. And this transition from what usually is in a blame game, right? If you were wrong, your stuff's wrong, your stuff's different, nothing's matching, everything's messed up, is we go from that, from a blame game to now a problem solving set of questions, right? We can now start to solve problems as we move forward. And that puts us in a much different mindset than we would have had otherwise. And that level setting of, hey, this is what I now understand you to be doing. This is how I believe we can move forward through this. Here's a couple questions. We need some answers, and then we can move past whatever issue that we're having. This happens all the time in construction. We have these types of problems all the time. And again, it all stems from a poor and just really a lack of communication. So, or you're just poorly communicating, right? You're not clear, concise, and everything that we talked about last month on this show. So now we want to make sure that as we move forward, we're talking more clearly about the projects at hand, the things at hand, and then we're able to move forward from there. So level set on your projects. Number two is documentation. We know that we need documentation throughout the process of a construction project. That documentation is, RFIs, submittals, ASIs, emails, what the owner agreed to, meeting minutes, right? All the stuff we talked about last month as far as documentation goes. The thing that we didn't talk about in that type of documentation is we didn't talk about the start of the project, right? Where is our checklist of all the documentation that we need to get started? This could be the owner's requirements, right? What do they require? Space planning. I mean, this is all the stuff architects typically go through. So, everyone who's not an architect doesn't need to deal with it, right? We get a building plan and we move forward. But space planning, right? How many offices, conference rooms, hallways, bathrooms, right? All those types of things go into the project, and the architect can develop the space from there. So that's one type of documentation, right? And that's usually a from scratch, or hey, here's how much square footage we're using. Let's go from here. The other type of documentation is on renovation and addition projects. So I'm doing a project right now, and it's at an existing high school. And with that, we have projects where, hey, we need drawings for the existing school. Well, with that, we need to go and find them, right? We need drawings for all this stuff. Now, a picture is okay, right? If we're just kind of reviewing stuff, a PDF and scan of that is better, that we can at least start from there and then basically put all of our new information on top of it. And then the best thing is a CAD file, and really even better than that is a Revit model. A lot of renovation addition projects are going to be in CAD just because that was what was used 20 plus years ago. So if we have the CAD drawings for it, that's fantastic, as that gives us a great starting point for the project. The oftentimes this gets really left out, or it takes weeks to get this information so that we can then put a set of drawings together, right? We do need to have some base set of drawings so that we're then able to put a plan together, right? We can use other images, but having a nice set of drawings does make it look professional, makes it look presentable, and it's clear both to the contractor, the owner, plan review, everybody involved in the process. So having that nice set of base drawings is super important. And then other existing information. This is why for owners, it's crucially important to maintain that documentation. Now, oftentimes you might think, why do I need to do this? Right? Well, you're not going to typically for 10, 20 plus years unless you're a hospital and then you do stuff all the time, but you might not be going back to that area for another 10 or 20 years. But you will be going back at some point to renovate that area, even if it's just an equipment upgrade or something else like that. So it's crucially important to have these CAD files, these drawings, so that the design team can use them moving forward for any renovations, additions that you might be doing to your, again, office, school, hospital, whatever it is that you might be occupying and working out of, factory, whatever it is. So documentation upfront is crucially important to make sure that a project gets off without a hitch. And again, for a lot of folks, this is behind the scenes stuff. This is not the thing that's out in front and forward where everyone can kind of see it, right? It's like you magically send drawings into a black hole and then you get pretty things back out in, a few weeks time or whatever. So that's the documentation piece I wanted to cover today. And then the next piece I want to talk about is proposals. Are they more art or science? Now, we'll cover proposals more in depth this month here on the show. But for now, what I wanted to talk about with proposals is the art and the science of proposals. So what we can't kind of bank on for a lot of clients is that they're ever going to come back. I've had more and more clients promise that they're going to come back, and they just never do, right? They promise all these additional projects, all this other stuff. And it's like, sign a contract to that effect and we'd be happy to move forward with reduced pricing, right? They're not, and they don't do it. So you can already tell from the get-go that they're not inclined to provide additional projects. They just want to reduce price on the existing one, but they still need you to deliver for them. Otherwise they wouldn't be talking to you. So a lot of this is as much art as it is science, right? Knowing your pricing, knowing your margins, knowing what it takes to get a job done. And then what's next in the project. Treat every project independently, that there's not going to be a next one from that client, right? You never know what can happen with that client, and you need to make money on this project, not on the guarantee of more work later. So, and with that, right, like there's not on design, there's no real, honestly, scale to additional projects, right? Like I'm not going to cut my fee on this one because honestly, it's going to take me just as much time to do this one as the next 2 or 3, right? It's still my time valued to do this project. So it's crucially important that we value our time for each and every project, bid it accordingly, and be happy with what we've bid it on. Right. We all have projects that we've way underbid and it's come to bite us in the ass. And then there's other projects that we were super happy when we won them. And then they turned out to be more than we thought they were. Right. So every project has something under it. Very few projects ever go perfectly to plan. There are some projects that go just much better than others, or we just don't hear about them. So every project has its own little quirks and ups and downs through it. But just understanding that in your proposals to bid them accordingly to what that project is going to do. There's no real volume discounts around a lot of this stuff, at least in the design world. And even on other projects, it's each project is merited on their own basis, right? A lot of what we do and pretty much everything we do is based around labor. How much labor is it going to take somebody to do and execute and be there? What type of equipment they're doing, their overhead rates to rent it for, days, weeks, or months at a time. So again, bid every job like it's the only one you're going to get from that client so that you make sure that you're going to make money on each project, right? We're not running charities here. We do need to be profitable. And so with that, we need to ensure that we have as much art in our proposals, right? This is why you do it. This is why we're chosen for the job. This is why we can help you solve your problems in giving you a new facility or designing your building or executing it better than anybody else. So we want to make sure that we have as much art as science, right? A good number in those projects as possible, as well as a good schedule, right? So there's all these components to affect. It will go into really the triangle and project triad, into time, budget, and schedule this next month, as well as proposals and everything that kind of goes into a project and making it successful from the start. So again, guys, thank you so much for listening to the show. Really appreciate you listening. And if you've gotten anything out of this, make sure to share it with a friend and help them improve what they know in the construction industry. And until next time, fly your flags proudly this 4th of July and